Hello and welcome to this week's video. This week we look at words and phrases related to understanding road signs. We look at some types of signs and what they allow people to do, what they don't allow people to do, and when we are warned about dangers. Don't forget to stay until the end to test your knowledge by taking our quiz. Anyway, let's get started with the first word. Our first phrase this week is fairly obvious. Now let's have a look at how we would pronounce this. Fairly obvious. Great. And one more time. Fairly obvious. Great. So let's have a look at the definition of fairly obvious. So this would be when something is very easy to understand and does not need an explanation. The example would be, Alex found the red signs for speed limits were fairly obvious to understand. He saw a red circular sign with 40 on. He knew this meant a speed limit of 40 miles per hour. Our second phrase this week is traffic signals. Now, how would we pronounce this? Well, let's look at more detail in the pronunciation. So this would be traffic signals. And again, traffic signals. Excellent. So let's have a look at the definition of traffic signals. So these are traffic lights which tell drivers when it is safe to drive and not. The example of traffic signals is as follows. Alice arrived at the new traffic signals when the light was on red. She waited there until the traffic signals showed a green light. She drove on when the green signal appeared. Our next phrase this week is positive orders. Now let's have a look at how we would pronounce positive orders. Positive orders. And again, positive orders. Excellent. So now let's take a look at the definition for positive orders. So these are blue circular traffic signs which are used to tell drivers to do something. And the example of positive orders is, John was cycling on the road and saw a positive order sign with a bicycle on. This meant that only bicycles could use this route and other vehicles were not allowed. Our penultimate word this week is negative orders. Now let's have a look at how to pronounce negative orders. Neg-a-tive orders. Great. And let's try one more time. Neg-a-tive orders. Excellent. Now let's move on to look at the definition of negative orders. So the definition of negative orders are those which are as follows. These are red circular traffic signs which are used to tell drivers not to do something. An example of a negative order would be as follows. Elle was driving through a small village when she saw a negative order sign. It told her not to go faster than 20 miles an hour. This was because there were many pedestrians. Our final word this week is hazard. Now let's take a look at how we would pronounce this. Has-erd. And again, has-erd. Excellent. Now let's take a look at the definition of hazard. So this is another word for a danger. Road signs will show hazards on a triangular sign. Great, so let's take a look at an example of where we might find a hazard sign. Megan saw a flood hazard sign close to a river which sometimes flooded. She would always drive carefully along this route, especially when there had been rain. Now it is time to test your knowledge with our weekly quiz to see how much of today's lesson you can remember. We will ask you 3 questions on the vocabulary we have just learnt in this week's video. So our first question this week is, what is another word for danger? Would it be A, brie, B, deciduous, or C, hazard? And the correct answer for the first question is C, hazard. The second question is, what would be an example of a positive order? Would it be A, you can ride your bike here, B, you cannot travel more than the set speed, or C, beware of the flood ahead? And the right answer for question 2 is A. You can ride your bicycle here. Moving on to the third and final question this week, we ask, what is meant by fairly obvious? Would it be A, something that is easy to understand, B, something that is difficult to understand, or C, seek further advice? And the correct answer is A, easy to understand. Thank you for taking part in today's quiz. Let us know in the comments how you did in this week's quiz. And congratulations if you got all 3 questions correct. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions about this video or would like us to explain a term for you from any context, then please post your question in the comments box below. We are always happy to help. Don't forget to like our video to help us find more viewers and to expand our channel so that we can provide you with an even better experience. Why not press the subscribe button and bell notification icon so you never miss out on one of our future videos. Next week we will be looking at words and phrases to do with overnight trains. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us this week, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. Goodbye.